All right, guys, if you can hear me, let me know as per usual. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Yes, yes, no. All right, guys, what's going on? Hi, hello. Thank you for the 5 by 5 Appreciate it. All right. So, guys, tonight's subject, we're going to talk about protecting the migrants and not the American citizens. So, we are seeing this issue, this problem, if you will, where they are. Thank you for the 5 by 5 Paul F. Appreciate it. Where they are. Susie, Finley the dog, thank you for the 5 by 5 Bass, thank you for the 5 by 5 Maria, what's going on again? Wrench, Dan, Prepper, Mark, thank you for the 5 by 5 Maria, thank you for the 5 by 5 Appreciate it. Lisa, Patty, South Florida, William, Joe, thank you for the 5 by 5 MP, Buy the Book, Water Tiger, Wild, Eric, thank you for the 5 by 5 and Brian. All right, so guys, we're seeing this movement in this country where the American citizen is going to constantly be shit on. It's going to be, if we don't do anything about it, it's just going to keep happening. That's it. We need to do something. Migrants have the right to have a happy life. They have a right to have a happy life as long as they don't infringe on their bullshit, Explorer. I am tired of people saying that migrants should be happy too. Fuck them. I'm sorry. So for them to be happy, should they take over your home because they like your home better? Should they move into your house because your house offers a better setup for them? That would make them happy. Is that the happiness you mean? Because where is that happiness bullshit excuse going to end? That happiness excuse is the bullshit that people like to push for them. Oh, it'll make them happy. Their life will be better. Your life would be better if you fought for your own country. If you kick the cartel out, your life would be better. Your life would be happier. You have to go through turmoil sometimes to build a better future. That is just a fact. And these people don't want that turmoil. They want to come here and suck up everything and anything they possibly can. We are not the lifeboat of the world. And people go, the American dream. Listen, the American dream is dead. The American dream is dying, or rather, it was killed a long time ago. And we sit here, and they actually, sorry, the illegals sit there and think that, oh, the American dream is still alive. It's dead. They're not getting it. For them to get the American dream, they have to work like 80,000 hours and then some. Come up with a new technology or some bullshit to make it. The American dream is gone. Every time our taxes go up, every time the price of food goes up, or housing, or rent, or clothing, whatever it is, it goes up. The American dream dwindles ever so slightly and ever more, rather. Sorry. So I don't feel, guys, that I don't feel that we should be the lifeboat of the world. I don't think that we should be looking to migrants because they want a happier life. Erica, I'm in Vermont. And that is just the bottom line. And the problem, guys, thank you, Oops. And the problem, guys, is that people, they are doing everything and anything they possibly can for migrants. They are bending over backwards for these people. They are giving them jobs. What did Massachusetts do? Massachusetts did some sick shit earlier. They gave the migrants, and let me look for this because this was one of those jaw-dropping moments. Okay, in Martha's Vineyard, the migrants that were shipped from Florida by Governor DeSantis are given a crime victim visa. A crime victim visa, guys, because according to their lawyer, they suffered a crime. With crime, I don't know. But let's dive into this article real quick. A handful of migrants shipped off to Martha Vineyard by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis 18 months ago are now legally allowed to work in the U.S. because they are considered victims of a crime, their attorney states. The migrants applied last year for a special type of visa designated for crime victims known as a U visa after they claimed they were duped into boarding charter flights from San Antonio, Texas to the upmarketed liberal enclave of Massachusetts with a false promise of jobs and housing. And because of that, that's the crime. And they're the victims. Go fucking figure. There's a chick who was raped right now going, are you fucking kidding me? At least 3 of the 49 migrants involved in the flight operation, spearheaded by DeSantis in September 2022, received a bona fide determination for their U visa application this week, their immigrant attorney stated. It means they can now find jobs and can't be deported while they wait for their visa to come through. The approval of the U visa can often lead to permanent lawful status in the country as well. Do you see this shit? Victim of a crime. They broke the law to get here, but somehow they're the victims. Someone said, be careful in Bennington, Vermont, drug center for overdosing coming. Shady area. Roger that. The development comes after the sheriff of Bexar County, Texas, launched a criminal probe in late 2022 after DeSantis took credit for the 2 taxpayer-funded migrant flights that landed in Martha's Vineyard after a brief pit stop in the Sunshine State. At the time, Sheriff Javier Salazar, an elected Democrat, rallied against the flight that originally took off in his city, claiming the migrants were a victim of a crime because they were allegedly exploited and hoodwinked into making this trip. Now, they were hoodwinked into making a trip. They came to this country. No one hoodwinked them into coming to this country. No one lied to them into coming to this country. If they were promised something and they didn't get it, it's called tough shit. That's called life. Nonetheless, guys, they are exploiting every possible angle they probably will and probably can exploit every angle to get what they want. This is a bad sign, and yet somehow people are not seeing through the bullshit. It's mind-boggling to me that these people broke the law, and yet the law is working for them. Go fucking figure. And Keebles said, something big is coming, guys. I can feel it. We can all feel it. We can all feel this bad thing that's coming. But anyway, guys, with that, people of America, the citizens, the actual citizens of the United States are getting screwed. We are paying too much in taxes to pay politicians in their pockets, to make sure migrants are well fed. Our taxpaying dollars are going to people who are breaking the law. Our taxpaying dollars are protecting those who are breaking the law. And yet somehow they claim to be the victims because they were duped into getting on a bus, or rather a plane, and flown to Martha's Vineyard. In fact, the West Africans marched on City Hall last week, stated that they were lied to as well because they were promised visas and green cards, work visas and green cards. And I'm like, if I'm not mistaken, New York City doesn't give out work visas. I think New York State does. And maybe I'm wrong on the work visas, but the green card, that's a federal thing. That is not a state thing. And somehow these guys got it in their heads that they deserve it, that it's theirs. This is the problem, guys. I mean, Imagine, for example, and this is a New York City thing, or a New York State thing rather. We're paying more in car insurance right now because of Uber drivers and these stupid fucking mopeds that are smashing into everything. And because there's so many of them, and a lot of them don't have insurance, we have to pay the cost of that. So now the charge goes on the actual customer, and I couldn't fucking believe it. And when you call the insurance companies, they tell you why. And you're like, but why is that our problem? Well, because, yeah, the Vespa gangs. It's because they're not insured. And because the rideshare services, they made a deal with insurance companies. Or rather, they made a deal with the state so that they don't have to pay for the accidents that they get into. We pay for every time they get into an accident. And our insurance goes up each year because of them. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It was one of the worst things I've heard in a long time. And insurance companies, they're scam artists. They're the biggest con man or con people on the planet. But that's a different subject for a different day. Guys, we are constantly getting screwed for people that don't live here. Matter of fact, for people that do not even love the country. We're getting people into this country that hate this country, that are chanting death to America as they're crossing the borders. They're looking to leave their shithole of a country, come here, and then want us, the American citizens, to be indoctrinated by their bullshit. That we have to start changing things and making food for them and serving them the meals they want. Fucko, you came to America, grab a burger and a hot dog and a Coke, shut the fuck up and sit down. But they don't do that. They bitch and moan, and what do these fucking politicians do? They bend the knee to these fucking psych patients. They fold at every chance they get. So it's asinine, guys, the shit that we have to deal with and the shit that we're going to continue to deal with in this country, because none of us are going to rise up until something bad happens. And by the time, guys, by the way, by the time we do decide to rise up, if you will, it'll be too late. I think it's already too late, actually. I think there's so many migrants here. I mean, listen, there's some migrants that do want to assimilate. Don't get me wrong. There's migrants that are learning English or want to learn the American way of life because clearly their way of life didn't work there. But then there are others who come here and they want to make life hard for everybody else. Dan Phillips says too late. I agree. I think we might be too late. And also the fact that we don't have enough people to stand up. That's the other side of that problem. We don't have enough people who want to stand up. Everybody wants to live comfortably in their homes, you know, lower their blinds and hope for the best. And that is not what we're faced with. We're faced with way worse than that. But yeah, only that, listen, guys, things are going to get a whole hell of a lot worse in regards to migrants running rampant in the city. I mean, in the country. And forget about the crime aspect. I mean, that's going to be fucking out of control. But the migrants coming over here, they're going to double time them when coming over here. There's going to be double the amount. There's going to be double the amount of migrants coming across the border in the next few months because they have to flood them in just in time for the election. Now, some people believe that the election is going to be fixed, and then the rest of us seem to think that, well, we might have a shot. I don't know what's what, and I don't know how it's going to go down. All I know, guys, is that things are going to get pretty bad in regards to that. We're definitely going to see some bad shit. And I think the migrants are going to play a role, or at the very least, they're going to get the blame. I like to think that they're going to take a role. But listen, they very well could be innocent in what comes next, but I don't know. The amount of crime that we're seeing in the cities, the amount of gang violence that's starting up, when I said last week that we didn't see any, they're starting their shit up. The gang violence is starting up, and we're in fucking April. We're not even in the thick of the summer yet, and things are starting to get out of control. And things are going to get way out of control in the major cities. But again, not much that can be done about it unless we actually stand up for ourselves. And I don't see us standing up for ourselves. I really don't. I don't think people want to. I think people just want to be comfortable and stay home. We shall see. But listen, New York City, man, the carjacking, not carjacking, but the theft, the car thefts, they're stealing tires left and right. They're stealing Acuras like it was going out of style. Now, the Acura crime started picking up about a year or two ago, but I hadn't seen car theft skyrocket until migrants started coming here about 2, 3 years ago. And now they're listen, they jacked this guy's car up in the front of on a busy block in the middle of the night. Now, even in the middle of the night on this block, you'll still get like 3, 4, maybe 5 people. They took all 4 of his tires and left his fucking car on the ground. They didn't even have the decency to put it on blocks. They put his car on the ground. You know how hard it is to get a car off the ground without scratching or ruining it? That's almost an impossibility. You can't even get straps underneath the car to lift it up so that you could put donuts on it and then drive it out. So again, crime is skyrocketing all over the place. And with migrants in the city, things have just jumped tenfold. And of course, NYPD, they're going to try to do their best to dwindle the numbers. In Detroit and California, they're going to try their best to dwindle the numbers so that it doesn't look as bad as it really is. But cops, listen, I ran into a bunch of cops the other day. I was on a bullshit call, fire. It wasn't a fire call, but I was working, and it was a bullshit call. And so we get cross. How do you say that? We got cross calls, right? So we were there for a water leak. The cops are there for a guy that pulled a knife on his neighbors. So we just all happened to be in the building on the same floor at the same time. I never watched cops try to not, they were doing their best, man, not to get involved with the knife incident. The cop was like, well, we'll deal with this situation first. And that was us forcing the door. And I looked at the cop, I'm like, really, dude? I said, you got a guy that pulled the knife and you're worried about us forcing a door that has nothing to do with you? Cops are getting scared. Cops don't want to fucking answer the call anymore. And I watched it with these 5 fucking officers. Now, like I said, I back cops up, but those 5, I've never seen a fucking bunch of pussies in my life. I mean, seriously. The soon as the neighbor said he pulled a knife on me, your next move was to go to the door, knock on it, and get the guy out, and at the very least, get into a conversation with him to see what was actually going on. But instead, he was worried about us forcing a door that had nothing to do with him. So, yeah, man. Things are going to get worse because if cops are going to start behaving like that, if they're going to start not, I mean, like, listen, granted, right now, cops are not doing their job because they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, but that display of cowardice was out of control. I mean, every last one of us walked out of there and we were like, what the fuck was that? We've never seen that before. Listen, I worked with some heavy, hard-hitting cops from back in the days. I worked with some cops, man, they were like, yo, they were about it. This new breed, they're not about it, man. They're about fucking, and I get that you want to go home. I understand that. I understand the whole wanting to go home. I understand that they don't want to get involved in a lot of shit. But why involve yourself with something that had nothing to do with you, which was us and the firefighting shit? You know, it was just, I don't understand, man. The cowardice is real. And listen, the cowardice is across the board. It's not just fucking cops. I mean, I'm seeing it in different, I'm seeing it in fire. I'm seeing it in EMS. I'm seeing it in corrections. You know, I mean, the people who still have balls and are willing to get their asses handed to them are fucking the traffic cops. They're handing out tickets knowing they can get beat up. They're doing the shit anyway. They don't give a fuck. Like, fuck it, beat me up, you know? But it's insanity, man. But anyway, guys, it's at 20 minutes. Correction is corrupt, but they also have like a ton of cowards there too, like a ton, you know. But then you got some hard hitting dudes that are still hanging in there, but they're dwindling. The hard hitting dudes in PD, corrections, EMS, they're dwindling because they're being outnumbered by cowards, right? Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go off the air now. This is 20 minutes. I will see you guys Thursday for the double header. I will not be doing a Wednesday midweek report, at least not right now. Maybe in the last minute I will, but as of right now I won't. I will see the rest of you guys Thursday for the double header. Thank you for joining me tonight. Thank you for dealing with my bullshit, and I will see you guys later. And give a thumbs up, by the way.